What's financial freedom? Like, what is it to you and what is it to the world? You know, it's one of those things where people are talking about residual incomes and financial freedom and financially independent and wealthy. And today we're really going to dissect what it is and how do you know when you actually get there. Financial freedom. You know, to really talk about it, you got to ask yourself, what is it? Stephen, for you, of all the different ways you've heard financial freedom defined and described, what is it?
I can narrow financial freedom down to one word, actually.
Okay.
Peace. I think that oftentimes we associate financial freedom with chasing after a certain money goal, chasing after a certain business goal. But really, I think financial freedom for me comes down to peace. Do I feel that peace of mind? Do I have, that calm feeling that regardless of what happens, I'm going to be okay? And that to me is what financial freedom. So I don't really have a number set to it. It's that feeling of peace.
Yeah, and I want to build on this concept of peace, and I want to give you a definition to write down. Financial freedom is to have enough resource for every inspired choice
I love that
you have. The reason why Stephen's talking about peace and I'm talking about resources for every inspired choice is because you got to go beyond what people used to think retirement was, right? I mean, this idea, the only people that want to retire are people that hate their jobs. Let's be honest, right? And they say that when you retire from your job, the average male only lives 5 more years and then it's lights out. So
I'm never retiring.
Yeah, well, guess what happens when you live a life of doing what you don't like and then you get to retirement and it's not really what you thought that it would be. So what could you do with your life even now before you quit the job or have the money to do those things that would produce peace and inspiration in your life? Because there's one thing that we're really after that's way higher up on the scale than retirement. And what that's called is fulfillment. Peace is an energy of I've done my work, I've shared my message, I've done the things that I felt inspired to do, and combine and add into it this idea that it's having enough resources for every inspired choice. I get inspired every day. I could be inspired today to go take my kids out of school and then go take them up to the museum. And the museum might cost $100, but do I have the resources, in this case money, or the time to be able to do that? Because if that's what's going to be inspired, if that's what is going to create fulfillment, then do I possess the resources for doing that?
And I love that you say resources here. And I want to dive into what this really means, because we're not saying that you need to have all of the money to do everything that you ever wanted to do right there in that moment, but you need to have the resources or the resourcefulness to be able to get to where you want to go. I mean, the reality is once you get into that space of financial freedom, you learn that there are so many resources outside of yourself. You learn that you don't have to fulfill everything just by yourself, that if I wanted to go build a company, maybe you need $10 million to grow this successful company. Maybe you don't have $10 million, but you can still have financial freedom in that you know where to find those things. You are resourceful.
Yeah, at some point you got to stop doing things for money.
Yeah.
The thing is, when financial freedom, when it's all defined by a number, when it's all defined by having a certain amount of money, the reality is that a lot of us envision a world where we have no responsibilities. And that is not the life that actually produces the fulfillment and the joy. So what we're here to do today in this video is redefine retirement by redefining financial freedom. Financial freedom is that ability to pull in the peace of mind and to live an inspired life, to have the resources you need for everything that you want to do. You know, I remember when I retired the first time at 26, I quit my job and for 6 months was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I had tons of time at home, tons of time with my wife, and at that time I only had 1 child, and we started doing some traveling. And I just remember after 6 months of it being like, man, this whole thing of having enough money so you don't have to have a job, that cannot be what this financial freedom is all about, because, it's better than where I was at. I like that I'm not doing the things that I didn't enjoy as much, or some of the things that I didn't enjoy at all. And yet that still isn't producing all the energy of fulfillment that I was hoping for in my life. And fulfillment, these days I'm working harder than I ever worked when I had a job. I'm actually working more hours often, and dude, I will work hard, play hard, but I'm putting a ton of effort and energy in, and I can't imagine doing it anything different.
See, retirement, like you said, retirement actually used to be an agricultural term, and retirement literally meant to put the cows out to pasture. This was the end of their days where they would go out to die. And that being said, I don't want to necessarily redefine retirement. I just want to get away from using the word retirement at all, because it's not about retirement. It's about, like you said, living a truly fulfilled life now. Retirement indicates that you can't live fulfilled until some point point out in the future.
Yeah, and that future never becomes present, so we always feel like there's something missing.
Absolutely.
And we're actually wiring and firing our neurons in our brain together and saying, hey, listen up, dummy. You haven't made it yet. You can't be happy. You can't be fulfilled because you don't have enough money yet.
Right, so it's not about retirement, it's about being fulfilled. And our challenge for you today is to feel fulfilled now, to begin feeling the fulfillment. Choose today that you're going to be financially free, that you're going to feel the peace all around you based on your even current situation. And as you do that, you'll begin to attract all of the resources, all of the resourcefulness that you need, even all of the money that you need to feel that lasting and growing peace, to feel fulfilled today, not tomorrow.
So really, this video really comes down with Stephen's suggestion here down to, do you know how to ask the powerful question? Because we only get, if dumb questions yield dumb answers, and they say there's no such thing as a dumb question, except for the one not asked.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if you ask a powerful question, you're going to get a powerful answer. And if every day you ask this question, start your day with it. What do I get to do today to create fulfillment? And then do that thing that comes up for you, and then do it later in the day. And if you're doing it actually throughout the day, and you make this a pattern, you wire it in your brain, is just who you are, then you have the opportunity, no matter what your bank account looks like at the end of the day, you have the chance to go to bed and say, I inquired, I received information on what would create fulfillment for me, and I did that thing. I know that my wife just did this. She was just here in the kitchen, and she said, I just made my son Daniel's day. I said, how'd you do that? I said, months ago he had done his reading for the whole month and had basically earned this free Godfather's Pizza
Remember
prize.
those, right?
Right. And because we have like no sugar in our house, and we're largely vegan, and we have a certain clean way of eating. My kids, Daniel was just like, Mom, when are we going to do this pizza thing? And finally she said, today's the day to be super mom. The inspiration that came was, I'm going to whisk Daniel away during his school lunch break. We're going to go get that pizza, even though it's unhealthy, and we're going to recognize him for his reading achievement. And so she went and she did that, and by the time she dropped him back off to school, he was just beaming. He was beaming because he felt recognized, and that was something that she did that made a huge impact on him. Every one of us has the ability to make an impact on our life, our spouses, our families, our friends, our loved ones, there's people, even strangers. And if we're living our life with a little bit of a different lens that says, wow, what will make me happy today? What choices can I make that will allow me to serve and bring joy to other people? What feels inspired? The other day I was inspired for the year. I was doing my big goals, and I felt really challenged to ask myself, what do I want to give this year? It's not about getting. I'm not the richest person on the planet. I'm not a billionaire, but I'm in a place that if I want to buy something, I buy it. And if I want to travel somewhere, I travel there. So I travel international multiple times throughout the year. I live in a beautiful home. I get to drive the cars. At some point, if those things don't become your identity and the driving force in your life, then what does? And I asked myself a question for this 2018, what would bring some of the greatest joy? And because I was making goals of what I wanted to achieve for me and my family, and what came up to me that really moved me was, I'd like to free 100 girls from the sex slave trade. It's $2,500 for everyone that you free. It's a $250,000 goal. I've given money to charities and foundations, and have done some different things in my church before. But honestly, I've never done anything on that magnitude. I've got some other goals of people that I want to feed and some other things. But that one, I found out this morning that as I was reviewing my goals and seeking my inspiration for what would create fulfillment today, when I got there, Stephen, it pierced my heart. And I'm absolutely certain that it's going to happen this year. I don't exactly know how, because I don't have to know that this moment. I just have to have certainty on what I want. And it really just emotionally took me over. I'm looking at what I'm doing today, and I'm asking myself, what can I do to help pull the funds or resources or people or whatever together to make that dream come true? Because if I did that, that might be the most important thing I do this year, not the money I make or where I traveled or who I got to meet. It's not how much I can make, it's how much I can give. And so as you're contemplating this concept of financial freedom, here are some of the final principles that we want to leave with you that you can take some notes on and revisit. These are some powerful questions for you. Number one, what can you do today that will produce fulfillment for you? Here's another thing to write down. I have the resources I need for every inspired choice, right? Because if you get if intuition comes up and it gives you a suggestion, you're like, well, that'll cost money. Listen, if there's one thing to put your money towards, if you're ever going to divert it from the typical plan, put it in towards the things that inspire you, because those are the things that will motivate you, drive you. Those are the things that lead your life, your results, your emotions, ultimately produce that fulfillment for you. That's the second thing. The third one is practice every day creating a present moment to step into peace. And the moment that peace is robbed, ask yourself, what can I do today to step back into that peace? How do I actually restore that peace? How do I magnify that peace in my life? And these three questions, these thoughts, these ideas, we hope that they help you on your journey of evaluating what financial freedom is for you, and then allows you to realize that whatever your definition is and whatever you come up with, make sure that it is achievable today, not tomorrow, not next decade, not when you retire, because if you can find a way to grab it today, then you are amongst the richest people on the planet. Do you feel ready for stepping into your financial freedom plan? Do you feel more committed and more ready to take action on what can help build the wealth as you're building the right kind of mindset? Then check out our website and learn some of the different options and things that we do. I've helped over 3,000 people with my team do nearly $1 billion of wealth creation. It's been absolutely amazing. And perhaps you're next that we get to work with to help you create a wealth plan, a strategy plan where the money can come in that can match the mindset of being financially free today, but having a financial income base growing that supports whatever inspired choices come your way.